Federal regulations do not merely prescribe the words of a restrictive endorsement. They can also prescribe how that endorsement must physically appear on the security itself. Where does it go? How large should it be? What information must remain visible? And what happens to attached coupons? The answers are found in 31 CFR section 328.6, Requirements for Endorsement. Paragraph A begins with bearer securities, and the regulation immediately becomes extraordinarily specific. The endorsement must be placed in a particular location and in a particular orientation. The endorsement must be imprinted on the left-hand portion of the face of each security, not randomly across the document, not wherever convenient. The regulation specifies its location. The first line of the endorsement must run parallel to the left edge of the security. Even orientation is addressed. The endorsement is therefore intended to appear in a controlled and recognizable configuration. The endorsement must also be clearly legible. Its purpose cannot be defeated by an unreadable impression. The restrictive language must be capable of being plainly identified on the face of the security. Placement cannot interfere with the security's identifying information. Section 328.6 requires the endorsement to be positioned so that it does not obscure the serial number, series designation, or other identifying data. The identity of the security must remain visible. The regulation goes further. The endorsement should cover the smallest possible portion of the text on the face of the security. The objective is clear. Apply the required restrictive endorsement while preserving as much of the original security as possible. Even the approximate dimensions are specified. The endorsement should be approximately 4 inches in width and 1 1/2 inches in height. This is not an undefined notation scribbled somewhere on the document. Section 328.6 describes a standardized physical endorsement. And how must the endorsement be applied? By a stamp or plate of such character that the resulting endorsement becomes substantially permanent. The regulation uses a powerful word, ineradicable. The stamp or plate must render the endorsement substantially ineradicable. In practical terms, the endorsement is designed to become an enduring feature of the security, rather than an easily removable notation. The stamp or plate must also identify the Federal Reserve Bank of the district. The name of that Federal Reserve Bank must appear on the device used to imprint the endorsement. Section 328.6 then clarifies an important procedural point. Presentation to the appropriate branch of the named Federal Reserve Bank is considered presentation to the bank itself. The branch functions within that specified presentation framework. But the wording changes when the destination changes. When securities are to be presented to the Bureau of the Fiscal Service, the regulation instructs that the words United States Treasury should be used instead of the Federal Reserve Bank fiscal agent wording. Again, the form follows the designated federal presentation channel. Then comes one of the provision's most direct commands. No subsequent endorsement will be recognized. Within this regulatory procedure, the restrictive endorsement is not designed to become the beginning of an unlimited chain of later endorsements. Section 328.6 must also be read together with the preceding regulation. Section 328.5 provides the prescribed forms of endorsement. Section 328.6 explains important requirements governing how those endorsements are physically applied. Form and execution work together. The regulation also attaches a consequence to using a different form. If the endorsement on the security differs from the form prescribed in Section 328.5, Section 328.6 states that the provisions of Sections 328.7 and 328.8 shall not apply to that security. That is why the exact regulatory framework matters. Paragraph B turns from the security itself to something historically associated with many bearer securities, coupons. And here again, the regulation provides detailed instructions. Unmatured coupons attached to restrictively endorsed securities should be canceled by imprinting the prescribed endorsement so that a substantial portion of that endorsement appears on each coupon. The physical placement itself performs the cancellation function described by the regulation. Notice the precision again. The regulation does not merely say to mark the coupons. A substantial portion of the prescribed endorsement should appear on each unmatured coupon. That visibly connects those coupons to the restrictive endorsement applied to the underlying security. But what happens when one of those coupons is missing? Section 328.6 provides 2 different consequences depending upon whether the security is being redeemed or exchanged. In a redemption case, if a required coupon is missing, the regulation says the face amount of that coupon will be deducted. The missing coupon therefore affects the amount payable in the redemption process. For an exchange, the treatment is different. A remittance equal to the face amount of the missing coupon must accompany the securities. Same missing coupon, different transaction, different regulatory consequence. Matured coupons receive different treatment. All matured coupons should generally be detached from securities before the restrictive endorsement is imprinted. And matured is important in context. The regulation includes coupons that will mature on or before the date of redemption or exchange. Those coupons should also be detached before the restrictive endorsement is applied. There is an important qualification. The rule concerning coupons that mature on or before the exchange date applies except as otherwise specifically provided in an announcement of an exchange offering. Specific offering instructions can therefore matter. Taken together, Section 328.6 establishes a detailed physical framework, placement, orientation, legibility, protection of identifying information, approximate dimensions, a substantially ineradicable imprint, identification of the appropriate federal institution, and specific treatment of attached, missing, and matured coupons. Read together, Sections 328.5 and 328.6 tell a larger story. Section 328.5 addresses the prescribed endorsement forms for specified transactions. Section 328.6 addresses important requirements for putting that endorsement onto the security. Language and execution operate together. But regulatory precision also requires precision about scope. Section 328.6 concerns the restrictive endorsement framework applicable to the securities governed by Part 328. Its technical requirements should not automatically be converted into universal rules governing every check, mortgage, private note, or commercial instrument. Always begin with the instrument, the transaction, and the regulation that actually governs them. Under Section 328.6, every detail has a function. The endorsement's location protects identifying information. Its dimensions promote consistency. Its method of imprinting promotes permanence. Its institutional wording identifies the presentation channel. And its treatment of coupons addresses the economic rights attached to the security. This is regulatory procedure expressed directly on the instrument itself.